on the least efficient type of irrigation, helping them achieve efficiency would free up the most water. IFAS scientists have developed efficient irrigation for most of Florida's major crops, but conversion is expensive for farmers. Helping finance large-scale conversion to micro-irrigation could save hundreds of millions of gallons a day statewide. Yes, it would cost, but not nearly as much as one desalination plant. That's what I'm talking about when I say we should use some of that alternative water supply funding to support projects for new supply. I don't mean switching out people's shower heads at home. I mean really big conservation projects like switching to micro irrigation that can net the kinds of gallons that you get from desalination plants and river pipelines and the like. Second to agriculture, the greatest gains in efficiency could be realized in outdoor irrigation. You probably know that about half of water treated for drinking in Florida goes to lawns, most of it completely unnecessary. Between the pressure on our natural systems and the expense, it doesn't make sense to pour one more drop of potable water on our lawns and landscapes. If we choose to irrigate, reuse is available on both large and small scales. It's also available for toilet flushing. About a third of all water coming into the home, again, water that's been treated for drinking, gets flushed. So retrofitting old toilets is one thing, but green engineers and builders are showing us that we just don't have to pump precious groundwater or river water, then spend money to treat it for drinking and then flush it. Jacksonville University's new Marine Science Research Institute will harvest rainwater into a huge cistern and use it for all toilet flushing. The building will also have waterless urinals and Florida-friendly landscaping that needs no irrigation. Commercial and public buildings that rely on rainwater harvesting can serve thousands of people every day using less potable water than the average single-family home. These are the kinds of dramatic savings you capture when you pay serious attention to water efficiency. We could multiply them by millions if we work together to build a water ethic in this state. I've talked a lot about tangible solutions, but I'll end with that less tangible idea that what Florida really needs is a statewide water ethic, not just for children brushing their teeth or homeowners watering their lawns. Just like groundwater and surface water are really the same water and shouldn't be viewed as two different sources to deplete, a water ethic has to be shared among citizens, government, and industry. For real change, an ethic would have to permeate every level from the governor's office to our water management districts to our businesses. In the 19th century, we overdrained this most important resource held in the public trust for all Floridians. In the 20th century, we overpumped it. In the 21st century, Florida has a chance to turn down this new blue path to show how a dynamic state can grow and prosper using far less water. In the end, I believe that's the only way we'll prosper. Thank you very much.
All right, that was great, Neil. We really enjoyed that. She has a tremendous amount of information. It's hard to kind of absorb. But I think what was interesting is, it comes down to 2 points at the end, I think, is that, one, we really need to rethink or change the way, I should say, we think about water.
Right.
And then we need to really, I think, pursue those options that are just simple, in a lot of cases, common sense, which are water conservation and reuse, using water that we have much more efficiently, and by doing so, will pose a lot less risk to our natural environment, and it'll save us money in the end.
Right. And I think that, a couple points that I think Cynthia makes, and sometimes we don't think about it. We are using potable drinking quality water to water our lawns and our landscape. And when you think about it, We need to change that, and we have the potential here in this community. Reuse water, which we've talked about, is highly treated wastewater that we can use for outside the home uses, and thereby saving that highest, best use of water for our human needs for drinking and health purposes. And then the other thing I think, and it's, this whole idea of a water ethic, thinking about how each of us every day use water and how we can do slight things. I mean, I spoke to a group yesterday, we're not talking about ripping up our lawns or not taking showers. We're talking about thinking about how we live and making small alterations, and as you heard Cynthia, it will be multiplied by millions of people.
Well, I think that's important. Yeah, Neil, it's that when people ask me, what can I do? I always tell people the first thing, it's not maybe as specific as they're looking for as far as a tip. It's, don't keep the water running while you're brushing your teeth, but it's live consciously. Think about the consequences of our actions. I think that's part of it, is that water has been so freely available. We turn on our taps, it's there. We don't have to, at least in the past, we haven't seemed to have to worry about it running out.
Right.
And so we don't really think about how much water we're using. I think if we would really just think about during the day the consequences of our actions, think about whether it's necessary to leave that tap on while we're brushing our teeth, for instance, or washing the dishes. I think we would see that some of the things we do, it's almost illogical.
Right. Sure.
And and same goes with, like you said, watering our lawns with potable water. For one, we've used plant material in so many cases that is not really suited for Florida, and we're trying to artificially keep it alive by pumping it with fertilizers and chemicals and water, and that just probably needs to change in the future.
Right. Well, and one thing, last week I was was down in St. Augustine speaking to a group, and on my way down, I was driving down A1A. It was pouring down rain, and I counted 5 homes that were watering during that. And so if you have a sprinkler system, now is the time to get it in shape and make sure that your rain shutoff, which is everyone should have, is working. It's simple to test, and if it's not, that's a simple repair that will save probably thousands of gallons of water this year alone.
Well, and I think too, something, in this economic times, we need to really be thinking from what's cost effective as well. And some of these projects that we're talking about, like a desalination plant or even water withdrawal, would increase our water bill substantially.
Yes.
And we're already seeing that with the current water use patterns now. I know JEA, for instance, they're in the process right now of raising rates about 40%. So the cost of water is already going up.
Yes.
If we have to move to desalination and some of these other options, we're going to see the cost of water go up substantially.
Right.
Some people argue maybe that's necessary to cause people to change their behaviors, but I think we can do this. I think the Water Management District, they embrace water conservation, but they also have a caveat. They always say, but it's not going to solve our problems in the end. We're going to have to. But I disagree, Neil. I really think we can conserve water much more efficiently.
Yeah, I think we have the power as citizens and Floridians to really make a difference here.
And I don't think it would alter our lives that much either. I think we could still maintain a high quality life. In fact, probably more so, because it would cost us a lot less and we have more money for other things that are necessary. Well, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you next month, and go to our website to learn more information about St. John's Riverkeeper and ways that you can conserve water. We're a nonprofit advocacy group for the St. John's River.
And our mission is to help protect the river.